In recent years, there has been a significant shift in the way some countries and institutions view the purpose of prisons instead of mere punishment. They are now focusing on rehabilitation and reintegration. Today, we have a thought-provoking topic on our hands: the evolution of luxury prisons from punishment to rehabilitation. It's a subject that challenges conventional thinking about incarceration and offers a glimpse into a progressive approach to criminal justice. Number 7. The history of prisons. To understand the evolution of luxury prisons, we must first look back at the history of prisons. In the past, prisons were often brutal places designed to punish offenders rather than rehabilitate them. From medieval dungeons to 19th century workhouses, the focus was on retribution and isolation. However, the winds of change began to blow with prison reform movements in the 18th and 19th centuries. Visionaries like John Howard and Elizabeth Fry advocated for more humane conditions and rehabilitation efforts within prisons. Their ideas laid the groundwork for the modern penal system. Despite these early efforts, many prisons around the world remain overcrowded, underfunded, and often fail to provide the necessary resources for rehabilitation. But there are some prisons that are breaking the mold. Number 6. The origins of punitive incarceration. To understand the evolution of luxury prisons, we must begin with the origin of punitive incarceration. It might surprise you to learn that the concept of imprisonment as a form of punishment is relatively recent. Ancient punishment method. In the ancient world, punishment for crimes often took brutal forms, from public executions in the Roman Colosseum to corporal punishment like flogging and branding. Prisons, if they existed at all, were usually used for temporary detention before trial. Emergence of modern prisons. It wasn't until the late 18th century that the idea of prisons as a primary form of punishment gained traction. We'll explore the birth of modern prisons and how they were initially designed for punishment rather than rehabilitation. Number 5. The rehabilitation movement. The 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a shift in the philosophy behind imprisonment. This movement, known as rehabilitation, aimed to reform offenders rather than merely punish them. The influence of Enlightenment. Enlightenment thinkers such as Jeremy Bentham and Cesare Beccaria argued for humane treatment of prisoners, establishing the potential for moral improvement through incarceration. This marked the beginning of the rehabilitation era. Early rehabilitation programs. The Auburn system and the Philadelphia system, for instance, had contrasting approaches to achieving this goal. The ideas put forth by Enlightenment thinkers set the stage for the development of early rehabilitation programs within the prison system. These programs aimed to address the root causes of criminal behavior and provide inmates with opportunities for personal growth and reform. One of the early attempts at rehabilitation was the Auburn system, established at Auburn Prison in New York in the early 19th century. This system focused on hard labor during the day and solitary confinement at night. It aimed to instill discipline, work ethic, and moral improvement in inmates through a regimen of labor and silence. Early rehabilitation efforts also included educational and vocational programs. Inmates were provided with opportunities to learn trades, acquire skills, and gain an education, with the hope that these tools would increase their chances of successful reintegration into society upon release. The rehabilitation movement encountered several challenges and limitations, including implementing rehabilitation programs often required significant financial resources, which some critics argued could be better spent on other societal needs. During this era, there was a lack of empirical evidence to support the effectiveness of rehabilitation programs. The field of criminology had yet to develop rigorous research methods and data analysis techniques to evaluate the impact of these programs. The use of solitary confinement and forced labor to some rehabilitation models raised ethical concerns about the treatment of inmates, with accusations of human rights violations. Early rehabilitation efforts often focused on a narrow range of offenses, leaving some categories of offenders without access to reform programs. Number 4. The rise of luxury prisons. In recent years, a few countries have taken a radically different approach to incarceration. They've created luxury prisons, which on the surface appeared to be a far cry from the grim traditional image of correctional facilities. These luxury prisons focused on rehabilitation, providing inmates with comfortable living conditions, access to education, vocational training, and even recreational facilities. Let's take a closer look at some of these groundbreaking institutions. Luxury prisons aim to change the paradigm. Instead of punishing offenders, they aim to reintegrate them into society as law-abiding citizens. Luxury prisons stand out due to their emphasis on rehabilitation and comfortable living conditions. Inmates in these facilities often have spacious cells with private bathrooms, access to fitness centers, and communal spaces where they can interact with others. Some luxury prisons offer spacious cells with private bathrooms, access to fitness centers, and communal spaces where inmates can socialize. It's a stark departure from the cramped, harsh environments often associated with traditional prisons. Education and vocational training are also central to the rehabilitation process. Inmates are given the opportunity to acquire skills, complete their education, and gain work experience, increasing their chances of finding meaningful employment upon release. Recreation is another important aspect of luxury prisons. Inmates can engage in sports, arts, and cultural activities, promoting physical and mental well-being while fostering a sense of belonging. Number 3. The debate surrounding luxury prisons. The rise of luxury prisons has sparked a heated debate in the field of criminal justice. On one side, proponents argue that these facilities represent a shift towards a more humane approach to incarceration. On the other side, critics raise concerns about potential issues. We have to ask ourselves if it's fair that some prisoners live in luxury while others endure harsh conditions. There's a danger of creating a two-tiered system of justice. Critics worry that luxury prisons could create a disparity in the treatment of inmates and that the well-off might receive preferential treatment. Additionally, there's concern about the high cost of maintaining these facilities. It's important to remember that these luxury prisons are still the exception rather than the norm. We need broader systemic changes in our approach to criminal justice. Some experts argue that the focus should be on improving the conditions of all prisons and investing in rehabilitation programs across the board rather than building luxury facilities. Number 2. The future of luxury prisons. As we look to the future, the concept of luxury prisons continue to evolve. Architects and designers are exploring innovative ways to combine comfort, security, and rehabilitation. We are designing facilities that incorporate sustainable technologies, natural light, and green spaces. The future of luxury prisons places a strong emphasis on rehabilitation programs tailored to individual needs. Inmates are assessed upon arrival, and personalized treatment plans are created to address their specific challenges, whether it's addiction, mental health, or vocational skills. The integration of technology is another defining feature of the future of luxury prisons. Inmates are provided with access to cutting-edge educational resources, including online courses and interactive learning platforms. Restorative justice, a concept gaining traction in the world of luxury prisons, emphasizes healing and reconciliation. Inmates are encouraged to take responsibility for their actions and engage in dialogue with their victims or their victims' families. The future of luxury prisons extends beyond the prison walls. Number 1. Conclusion. In the end, the evolution of luxury prisons represents a radical shift in how we view and approach incarceration. It challenges us to reconsider the purpose of prisons and reminds us that rehabilitation and reintegration should be at the forefront of criminal justice. As we move forward, it's crucial to strike a balance between providing humane conditions and ensuring accountability for crimes committed. The journey from punishment to rehabilitation is a path worth exploring, and the world of luxury prisons offers a glimpse into what's possible when we prioritize the transformation of lives over mere confinement. Please subscribe to The Luxury World. Thank you for joining us on this thought-provoking journey.